After my son assaulted me, I grabbed my things and fled the house. My daughter-in-law was already throwing a party in my backyard with drinks and a barbecue. "She's finally gone. Now we can live free," she was saying cheerfully. But as the music blared, they didn't even notice when the back door slowly crept open. That would come later. Much later. First, I had to get out of there. First, I had to survive this morning. I am 64 years old. This morning, my son, Jerry, pushed me against the kitchen wall so hard that my head hit the tile. I felt the pain explode in the back of my neck like a white flash of lightning. I heard my granddaughter, Chloe, scream from the hallway. She was scared of her own father. I didn't cry in front of him. I wouldn't give him that satisfaction. I slowly got up, with what little dignity I had left hanging from my shoulders like an old shawl. Jerry didn't even look at me. He turned and walked out to the patio, where Denise, his wife, was watering the plants. My plants, the ones I planted 20 years ago when I bought this house with the money from my work as a seamstress. Every dollar I earned sewing prom dresses, church robes, and curtains for neighbors, all of it went toward this house, to have a place of my own, to not depend on anyone. But now they live here, and I'm the one who's in the way. I went to my bedroom. It used to be the master bedroom, the one with the garden view. Now, I sleep in the small back room next to the water heater. Denise said they needed more space because Chloe was growing. I agreed. I always agree. I always give in, always make myself small so they can fit better in my own house. I pulled a cloth bag from the closet, the same one I used 40 years ago, when I came from a small town in South Carolina looking for a better life in Charlotte. Now, I would use it to leave the life I had built. I packed little clothing, 1 gray sweater, 2 blouses, a skirt, underwear, my blood pressure medication, and the photo of my husband, Arthur. He died 15 years ago. Sometimes I think he was lucky. He didn't have to see what our son became. I also packed the house title and the documents proving that this property is in my name. Eleanor Vance, not Jerome Vance, not Denise. Mine, and mine alone. I hid them deep in the bottom of the bag, among the clothes. Something told me I would need them. Chloe walked in without knocking. Her eyes were red. She hugged my waist and started to cry. I stroked her hair. She is 9 years old and already knows the taste of fear. I will never forgive Jerry for that. Never. "Grandma, don't go," she said in a broken voice. "I'm just going for a little while, my love," I lied. "I'll be back soon, I promise." She shook her head. She knew I was lying. Children always know. I heard Denise's voice from the kitchen. She was on the phone. She was laughing loudly. I heard snippets of the conversation. "Yeah, she's leaving already. We can finally do whatever we want now. We're throwing a party this Saturday. Invite everyone. Let's celebrate." My fingers froze on the zipper of the bag. A party. They were going to throw a party to celebrate my departure, to celebrate that they had forced me out of my own home. I took a deep breath, finished closing the bag, and kissed Chloe's forehead. "Don't cry, baby. Everything is going to be okay. You'll see." She squeezed me tighter. "I don't want you to go, Grandma. Stay, please." But I couldn't stay anymore. Not after this. Not after my son had laid hands on me. Not after hearing that woman laugh while planning a party in my honor, a party to celebrate my absence. I walked out of the room with the bag on my shoulder. I passed through the living room, past the furniture I had bought piece by piece over the years. The wooden dining table Arthur and I chose together when we got married. The armchair where I nursed Jerry when he was a baby. Everything was still there, but it wasn't mine anymore. Nothing was mine. Denise was on the patio. She saw me walk past the glass door. She smiled, a small, victorious smile. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. Her eyes said it all. "You're finally leaving. Finally, this house will be ours." Jerry was sitting in a plastic chair drinking a beer. He didn't even look up. I opened the front door. The afternoon sun hit my face. It was hot, a dry heat that burned my throat. I walked down the sidewalk without looking back. My legs were shaking. I didn't know where to go. I just knew I couldn't stay there 1 minute longer. I crossed the street, passing Brenda Hayes' house, my neighbor. She was watering her garden. She saw me with the bag. Her expression changed. "Ellie, what happened?" I shook my head. I couldn't speak. If I opened my mouth, I would fall apart. She dropped the hose and approached me. "Come on, come inside. Let's go." She took my arm and led me into her house. I sat down in her kitchen. Brenda made me a cup of tea. My hands were shaking so much I could barely hold the mug. She didn't ask questions. She just looked at me with eyes full of understanding. Women like us don't need words to understand each other. Pain has its own language. I drank the tea in silence. My body felt heavy, exhausted, old. For the first time in my life, I felt truly old. Not because of my age, but because of the weariness of my soul, because of the betrayal, because of the abandonment by the person I loved most in this world. I raised that boy alone after Arthur died. I worked double shifts so he wouldn't lack anything. I paid for his college. I supported him when he met Denise. Although something inside me said that woman wasn't good, he loved her, and I only wanted him to be happy. So I stayed quiet, as always. When they asked to stay at my house because they didn't have money for rent, I said yes. Of course, yes. He's my son. They're my family. "It will only be for a few months," they said, "just until we save up for a down payment on a condo." 6 months passed, then 1 year, then 2, and they never left. Slowly, they began to take control. Denise moved the furniture around. Jerry brought his things and put them where mine used to be. My space grew smaller and smaller until one day I realized I was living like a guest in my own house. But I never thought we would reach this point. I never thought my son would lay a hand on me. I never thought I would have to flee my home, the place I built with such sacrifice and love. Brenda prepared the guest room for me. "Rest, Ellie. We'll talk tomorrow. You stay as long as you need." I thanked her without a voice. I lay down on that strange bed. I closed my eyes, but I couldn't sleep. In my head, I could only hear Denise's laughter. "We're throwing a party! Let's celebrate!" I spent the whole night awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking, remembering, wondering when everything went wrong, when I lost my son. Or maybe I never had him. Maybe he was always like this, and I was just too blinded by love to see it. The next day, my whole body ached, my head, my back, my heart most of all. Brenda brought me breakfast. "Eat something, please." I wasn't hungry, but I ate so I wouldn't worry her, so I wouldn't be a burden in her house, too. I spent 3 days like that, floating in a kind of fog, not knowing what to do, not knowing where to go. Brenda gave me space. She looked after me without smothering me. I will be eternally grateful to her for that. It was on the 3rd day that everything changed. Brenda came in from outside, cell phone in hand. Her face was tense. "Ellie, you have to see this." She showed me the screen. It was a photo of my house, my patio. There were people everywhere, tables full of food, bottles of beer, a barbecue grill smoking, colored balloons, music, a party. They were throwing the party. I met Arthur 30 years ago at a factory in the garment district downtown. I was 34, he was 37. We both worked the same shift, him in the cutting area, me in sewing. We saw each other every day during lunch. One day, he offered me half of his sandwich because I had forgotten my meal at home. That's how it all started. We got married 6 months later. A simple wedding, nothing fancy. Arthur didn't earn much, and neither did I. But we had something better than money. We had plans. We had dreams. We wanted a house of our own, a place to raise our children, a space that was just ours. We rented a small apartment on the outskirts, 2 bedrooms, a tiny kitchen, a bathroom with cracked tiles. But it was our refuge. Jerry was born there 2 years after we married. I remember the first time I held him. He was so small, so fragile. He cried a lot. We barely slept. Arthur worked days, and I worked nights, so someone was always taking care of the baby. We were a team. We had each other. Jerry grew up fast. He was a quiet, observant child, not like the other kids in the building who ran and shouted all day. He preferred to stay inside reading or drawing. Arthur used to say he would be an artist. I thought maybe he would be an architect. Something creative, something big. We gave him everything we could. Clean clothes, even if they were secondhand. Hot food every day, even if we ate less so he could have more. New school supplies every year, even if we had to pay in installments. We wanted him to have what we never had: opportunities, education, a future. When Jerry was 8 years old, we managed to buy a small plot of land. It was small. It was in a starter neighborhood outside the city limits, unpaved, without full services. But it was ours, our piece of earth, our beginning. Arthur and I built that house with our own hands. Well, he built. I helped by carrying bricks, mixing cement, painting walls. On weekends, it was the three of us. Jerry played among the debris while we worked. It took us 3 years to finish it. 3 years of sacrifice, of saving, of not buying anything that wasn't absolutely necessary. I remember the day we moved in. Jerry was 11 years old. He ran all over the house, shouting with happiness. "Mom, I have my own room. Dad, look how big the yard is. We can plant trees." Arthur and I hugged in the empty living room. "We did it," he told me. "We have a home." And we did. For years we were happy there. I got a job at a fabric store. I did alterations and custom sewing. Arthur stayed at the factory but got a promotion. He earned a little more, enough to live without worry, to give Jerry an education. Our son finished high school with good grades. He wanted to study business administration. Arthur was so proud. "My son is going to college. My son is going to get a degree. My son isn't going to work with his hands like me." We paid for his tuition, his books, his travel. Everything was heavy on our wallet, but it was worth it. We were investing in his future, in him having a better life than ours. Jerry was 21 when Arthur started feeling sick. Fatigue, chest pain, shortness of breath. At first we thought it was the job. Too many hours on his feet. Too much physical strain. But it got worse. One day he collapsed at the factory and was taken straight to the hospital. Congestive heart failure, the doctor said. Arthur's heart was failing. He needed expensive medication, rest, constant care, maybe surgery. The expenses piled up. I sold my jewelry, the little I had, a ring my mother gave me, gold earrings Arthur gave me when Jerry was born. Everything went to consultations and medicine. Arthur lasted 6 months. He passed away one morning in October. I was asleep beside him. I woke up, and he was already gone. He left so silently, without saying goodbye, without a word. I was left alone with Jerry. He was 23, in his last year of college. I told him not to worry, that I would take care of everything, that he should finish his studies. It's what his father would have wanted. I worked more than ever. I took every order I could get. I sewed until dawn, sleeping 3 or 4 hours. The rest of the time, I was at the machine. Sweet 16 dresses, costumes for school festivals, nursing uniforms, curtains, tablecloths, whatever. I couldn't afford to turn anything down. Jerry graduated. I was there at the ceremony alone, without Arthur, but proud. My son has a college degree. I did it. We did it. After graduation, Jerry got a job at a logistics company. He didn't earn much at first, but it was a start. He moved into an apartment shared with some other young men. I stayed alone in the house. For the first time in years, the house was silent. A heavy, empty silence. I kept working. I kept sewing. It was the only thing I knew how to do, the only thing that kept me busy, that didn't let me think too much about the loneliness. Jerry came to visit on Sundays. We ate together. He told me about his job, his plans. He wanted to climb the corporate ladder, make a career, earn more. I listened happily. My son is succeeding. All the sacrifice was worth it. It was during one of those visits that he told me he had met someone, a coworker, Denise. He wanted me to meet her. He brought her the following Sunday. She was young, pretty, well-dressed. She smiled a lot, maybe too much. She talked about her plans with Jerry, how they wanted to live, the house they wanted to have, the car they wanted to buy, the trips they wanted to take. Everything was, I want, I want, I want. Nothing was we have or we achieved, just plans for the future, dreams without a foundation. Something in my stomach twisted that day, but I kept quiet. Jerry looked at her with adoration. He was in love, and I wasn't going to be the bitter mother-in-law who ruins her son's happiness. They married the following year, a moderate wedding in a rented hall. I paid for some of the expenses. I didn't have much, but I gave what I could. He was the only son I had, the only family I had left. At first, everything seemed fine, almost perfect. Jerry continued to visit. Denise came with him, always very polite, always very correct. She brought me flowers, helped me set the table, asked about my health. She seemed like a good woman. But things changed when Denise got pregnant. Suddenly, visits became less frequent. Jerry was busy. Denise was tired. They needed to save money. They needed to prepare for the baby. I understood, or that's what I told myself. Chloe was born in March, a beautiful girl. When I saw her for the first time in the hospital, my heart melted. She was identical to Jerry when he was born. The same eyes, the same small nose. My granddaughter, my blood. The first few months were difficult for them. Denise wasn't sleeping. Jerry was exhausted from work and sleepless nights. Money was tight. Diapers were expensive. Formula was expensive. Everything was expensive. I helped them as much as I could. I brought them food. I gave them baby clothes I bought at the market. I gave them money when I could. Not much, but something. I wanted them to know they weren't alone. Chloe was 6 months old when Jerry came to see me alone, without Denise or the baby. He sat at the kitchen table. He wouldn't look me in the eye. "Mom, I need to ask you something." "Of course, son. Whatever you need." "We're really tight on money. The apartment we live in is too expensive, and with Chloe, we need more space. Denise says she can't go on like this. She's going crazy in that small place." I sat there waiting. "Could we stay here with you for just a few months until we save up for a down payment on our own place? We'd pay you some rent and help with expenses." My heart sped up. Part of me leaped with happiness. My son, my granddaughter in my house. I wouldn't be alone. I would have family nearby. But another part, a small, quiet part, felt fear. "Of course, son. This is your home. You can stay as long as you need." Jerry smiled. He hugged me. "Thank you, Mom. You don't know how much this means to us." They moved in the following week. The first few days were good, almost perfect. It was nice to hear noise in the house again, to hear Chloe babbling, to see Jerry come home from work, to have someone to eat dinner with. I was no longer alone. I no longer ate staring at the wall in silence. I had family with me. Denise seemed grateful. She helped me cook. We washed the dishes together. We sat in the living room in the evenings while Chloe slept. We talked about recipes, the baby, simple things. I thought maybe I had been wrong about her. Maybe she was a good woman after all. But things began to change. Slowly, so slowly I barely noticed. First it was the living room. Denise said they needed space for Chloe's things. The playpen, the toys, the high chair. "Of course," I told her. "Put whatever you need." She moved my favorite armchair, the one by the window. She pushed it into a corner. "It won't be in the way here," she said. She put the playpen exactly where my chair had been. Then it was the kitchen. Denise said she needed to reorganize everything, that it was more practical for her since she cooked often. She moved my pots, my dishes, my mugs, everything I had arranged over 20 years, she put where she wanted, where it suited her. I would look for things, and they were never where they had always been. She started buying things without asking me. A new microwave, an expensive blender, appliances that filled the kitchen counter. "We don't have space for all this," I said once. She looked at me as if I were being difficult. "Well, what you had was too old, Ellie. This is better, more modern." She stopped calling me Mom. She started calling me by my name, Ellie. Plain and simple, without affection, as if we were roommates, as if she wasn't my son's wife. Jerry didn't say anything. He came home tired from work, ate dinner, watched TV, and went to sleep. He didn't notice the changes, or he didn't want to notice. Then came my bedroom. The master, the one with its own bathroom and a garden view. One day, Denise walked in while I was folding laundry. She stood at the door, looking around. "This room is too big, Ellie." "Yes, it's comfortable. We're really cramped in Jerry's room. With Chloe's crib, we barely fit, and she's growing. She'll need a real bed soon." I felt a knot in my stomach. I knew where this was going. "You could move to the back room. It's just you. You don't need so much space, and there are 3 of us. It would be fairer." Fairer. That word burned in my chest. Fairer in my own house? Fairer to give up my bedroom, the one I shared with Arthur, the one I painted myself, the one with the window where the sun streamed in every morning? But I didn't say anything. I just nodded. "All right, I'll move." It took me 2 days to move my things. Jerry helped me carry the dresser. "Thanks, Mom," he said. "This helps a lot." Denise was already cleaning my room before I finished taking everything out. She hung new curtains, put on new sheets, and erased every trace of me in less than an hour. The back room is small, dark. It faces the water heater. You can hear the dripping all night. It has no closet. I had to put my clothes in boxes. The bed barely fits. But I told myself it was temporary, just a few months. They would leave soon, and I would get my space back. 3 months passed, then 6. They didn't leave. They never talked about leaving. When I asked how the savings for their apartment were going, Jerry changed the subject. "It's tough, Mom. Everything is so expensive. We need more time." Denise started inviting people over. Her friends, her sisters, came on Saturdays. They stayed for hours, drank coffee, laughed loudly, used my mugs, and left everything dirty. I cleaned up after they left. One afternoon, I overheard one of them ask, "Is this your house, Denise?" "No, it's my mother-in-law's, but we live here." The other woman said something I couldn't hear. Denise laughed. "We'll see. We'll see." Those words echoed in my mind. We'll see what? What was she planning? Jerry started coming home later. He said there was traffic, he had meetings, work was hard, but he smelled of beer. He came in with bloodshot eyes and wrinkled clothes. Denise didn't say anything. She didn't seem to care. I watched Chloe every afternoon. Denise said she needed to rest, that being with a child all day exhausted her. She went out. She didn't say where. She returned hours later with shopping bags, new clothes, shoes, makeup. She was spending money they supposedly didn't have. Chloe started calling me Mama. I was the one who fed her, bathed her, put her to sleep. Denise got angry. "Don't teach her to call you that. I'm her mother." I explained that the child was doing it on her own, that I wasn't teaching her anything, but Denise didn't believe me. She started to distance Chloe from me. When the child came looking for me, Denise would call her. "Come to Mommy. Leave Grandma alone. She has things to do." Chloe would cry. She wanted to stay with me, but Denise insisted. The child learned not to look for me when her mother was around. The household bills started to climb: electricity, water, gas. Denise used the washer 3 times a day. She left the lights on all over the house. She showered twice a day with the water heater on max. When the bills arrived, I panicked. "It's nearly $200 for electricity. How can it be so much?" Jerry would say he would pay half, but he never did. There was always an excuse. "This month is tough, Mom. Next month, I'll pay for 2 months together." But the next month came, and the story repeated. I ended up paying everything. My savings started to run out. Denise decided they needed a car. Jerry said they didn't have the down payment. She insisted. "Everyone has a car. We can't keep taking public transportation. It looks bad." They ended up buying a used car. "We took out a loan," Jerry told me. "We'll pay it off in 3 years." The car was parked in my driveway, the driveway where Arthur's car used to be, the one I had to sell after he died because I couldn't afford to keep it. Now there was another car there, but it wasn't mine. Denise started complaining about everything. "The house is old, the furniture is ugly, the walls need paint, the bathroom is outdated. You should remodel, Ellie, do something. This looks like an old people's home." I didn't have money to remodel. I barely had enough for the bills and food, but she insisted. "If you won't fix the house, at least let us do it. We can pay little by little, make improvements." Jerry hired a contractor. They started tearing down walls, changing floors, painting. I hadn't authorized any of it, but it was already done. The contractor would pass me the bill. Denise had told him I would pay $500, $700, $900. My savings disappeared. When I complained, Jerry got upset. "We're improving your house, Mom. You should be grateful. This increases the property value. You'll pass it down to us someday anyway. Why are you complaining?" Those words hurt more than a punch. "You'll pass it down to us someday." As if I were already dead. As if this house were already theirs. As if I were just taking up space until I was gone. Denise started making decisions without consulting me. She changed the refrigerator. She bought a new couch. She threw away my potted plants in the patio because they were ugly. She put in other plants, other things, everything to her taste. I watched from the window of my small room as my house transformed into something I didn't recognize. On Sundays, Denise invited her family, her parents, her siblings. They filled the patio, held barbecues, drank beer, and laughed. I stayed in my room. No one invited me out. No one called me to eat. When I went out to get water, they looked at me as if I were interrupting, as if I shouldn't be there. One afternoon, Denise's mother asked me, "How long have you lived here, Ellie?" I was confused. "My whole life. This is my house." The woman gave an awkward laugh. "Oh, yes, of course. It's just that Denise talks about this house as if it were hers." I got confused. Jerry started yelling at me over small things, over nothing. If he didn't like the food, if I made noise in the morning, if I asked a question. He raised his voice. He talked to me as if I were a foolish child. Denise saw it and didn't say anything. Sometimes she smiled. Chloe was almost 2 years old. She no longer sought me out. Denise had trained her well. When I tried to pick her up, the child turned her face away. She preferred her mother. Sometimes I watched her play in the yard from my window. I wanted to go out and play with her, but I knew Denise would get mad. I stopped cooking. Denise said she would take care of the food, that I was too old to be in the kitchen so long, that I should rest. It sounded considerate, but it wasn't. It was another way of pushing me out, of taking another space from me. Now I couldn't even decide what to eat in my own house. Things got worse when Chloe turned 3. Denise organized a large party on the patio. She invited all her family, her friends, and the neighbors. She rented bounce houses, hired a clown, and bought food for 50 people. I didn't participate in anything. No one asked my opinion. No one asked if I agreed. They just told me there would be a party on Saturday, as if I were a tenant being notified of an event. On the day of the party, I stayed in my room. I heard the music, the laughter, the shouts of the children playing. I peeked out the window once. I saw Chloe in a pink dress blowing out the candles on her cake. Everyone was singing. Everyone was applauding. I wasn't there. I went out later to go to the bathroom. I crossed the living room. Some people looked at me. A lady asked me if I was the grandmother. I nodded. "Oh, what a lovely party your daughter-in-law threw, right? The patio looks beautiful. This house is gorgeous." "Thank you," I murmured. But it wasn't my party. It wasn't my decor. Nothing was mine anymore. Denise saw me walk past. She didn't greet me. She continued talking to her guests. Jerry was next to the grill with his brothers-in-law. They were drinking beer, laughing loudly. He didn't even turn to look at me. When I returned to my room, I heard someone ask, "And the lady who lives here, where is she?" Denise replied, "Oh, she's resting. She's elderly now. She gets very tired." As if I were an invalid, as if I couldn't be in my own yard because I was too old. That night, when everyone left, it was my turn to clean up. Denise said she was exhausted. Jerry said he had to work early the next day. I picked up the dirty plates, the empty bottles, the leftover food. I cleaned the tables and swept the patio. It took me hours. My back ached, but no one helped me. The next day, Jerry asked me for money. "I need $200, Mom. Expenses, things for Chloe. The party cost more than we thought." I felt something snap inside me. "You're asking me for money for a party I wasn't even invited to?" Jerry frowned. "What do you mean you weren't invited? You were here. You could have come out whenever you wanted. I didn't lock you up." "But no one called me. No one included me." He shrugged. "Don't be dramatic, Mom. You always overreact to everything." I didn't give him the money. It was the first time I had ever said no. Jerry got angry. He slammed the door shut as he left. Denise walked in later. I heard everything. Do you realize you're being very selfish? Jerry works so hard. He makes an effort. And you don't even support him. You only think about yourself. I work too, I replied. I pay the bills for this house, the bills that you two run up. Denise laughed. Please, Ellie, work. You do a little sewing every once in a while. We are the ones who maintain this house. That's not true. You don't pay anything. You live here for free. You eat for free. You spend my money as if it were yours. Denise looked at me with contempt. You know what? You're bitter because you're alone, because nobody needs you anymore. You should be grateful we're here, that we give you company. If it weren't for us, you'd be here dying of loneliness. Her words cut through me. I wanted to answer. I wanted to defend myself, but no sound came out. Denise left. I stood in the kitchen, trembling. I didn't eat dinner that night. I locked myself in my room. I cried in silence. For the first time, I thought about leaving, about giving up everything. But where would I go? I had no one else. This was my house, my only place in the world. The following days were tense. Jerry wouldn't speak to me. Denise wouldn't either. They ignored me. When I entered a room, they left. When I tried to talk to Chloe, Denise took her away. Come on, my love, Grandma is busy. One afternoon, a bank statement arrived, a loan I hadn't applied for. $5,000 in my name, with my signature, or something that looked like my signature. I called the bank. They told me the loan had been approved 2 months ago, and the money was already in my account. But I hadn't seen that money. It wasn't in my account. I looked for my papers, the house documents, my bank statements, my ID. They weren't where I had left them. I searched all over my room. They were gone. I panicked. Someone had taken my documents. Someone had taken out a loan in my name. I went to find Jerry. He was in the living room watching TV. Jerry, I need to talk to you. What is it, Mom? I'm watching something. It's important. A bank statement arrived. A loan I didn't request. Jerry didn't look at me. I requested it. We needed money to fix the roof. It was leaking. But it's a loan in my name, without my permission. That's illegal, Jerry. You can't do that. He finally turned to look at me. Oh, Mom, don't overreact. I'm your son. Why do you need permission? Besides, it's for the house. It benefits you too. You stole my identity. You forged my signature. Jerry stood up. His face changed. It turned red. His eyes darkened. Shut up! I'm sick of your complaints, sick of everything bothering you, sick of you always screwing things up. He had never spoken to me like that, never with such violence. I took a step back. Jerry followed me. You know what your problem is? You think you still run things here. You think this house is yours, but it's not. You don't decide anything anymore. Denise and I run things here. You only live here because we allow it. His words struck me harder than any fist. Jerry, this is my house. It's in my name. I built it. I paid for it. He laughed. A cold, bitter laugh. For now. But we'll see how long that lasts. I wanted to say something, to defend myself, but Denise walked in. What's going on? Why are you shouting? Jerry pointed at me. Your mother-in-law is hysterical because I took out a loan. Denise sighed. Oh, Ellie, always making drama. That money was used for the house, so it wouldn't leak everywhere. You should be grateful. I'm not grateful. You're robbing me. You're using my name, my documents, my credit. This is not legal. Denise crossed her arms. Are you going to sue us? Your own son? Your granddaughter's mother? Go ahead, do it. You'll look like the worst mother in the world, the worst grandmother. No one will believe you. Jerry added. Besides, who says you didn't authorize that loan? Who says you didn't just forget? You're old, Mom. You forget a lot of things. Maybe you even signed it and don't remember. No, that's not true. I didn't sign anything. You forged my signature. Denise stepped closer. Her voice turned soft, venomous. Ellie, you are 64 years old. You live alone. Well, you did live alone. You have no one but us. Think about it. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Who is going to take care of you when you're older? When you can't manage on your own? You're going to need us. You better treat us right." I felt the floor move beneath my feet. It was a clear threat. Either I shut up and obeyed, or I would be left alone, abandoned, with no one. I went to my room. I locked the door. I sat on the bed. My hands were shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would burst out of my chest. They had crossed a line. It was no longer just invasion. It was no longer just disrespect. Now it was theft. It was fraud. It was abuse. But they were right about one thing. I had no one else. I had no family. My friends were few, and they all had their own problems. I couldn't show up at their door begging for help and report them? Report my own son? How could I do that? What would people say? What would they think of me? I spent days thinking, going over it, looking for an escape I couldn't find. Jerry continued not speaking to me. Denise treated me with contempt. Chloe wouldn't even look at me. I was a ghost in my own house. One night, I heard Jerry and Denise talking in their room. I was in the hallway, going to the bathroom. They had left the door ajar. Denise's voice was clear. "How much longer are we going to put up with her? I'm sick of her. Always complaining, always in the way." Jerry replied, "I don't know, but the house is in her name. We can't do anything until—" He paused. Denise completed the sentence. "Until she dies? Or until we convince her to sign it over to you? How do we convince her?" Jerry sounded tired. "I don't know. Tell her it's for her own good, that she'll be protected that way, that if something happens to her, the house is already secured for us, for Chloe. Something like that. Or we can just get her to sign it when she's distracted, like we did with the loan." I froze. They had planned everything. The loan, the documents. They wanted to take my house. They wanted me to sign the papers, and if I wouldn't do it nicely, they would do it the hard way. I returned to my room without making a sound. I locked the door. It was hard to breathe. My own son, my own blood, planning to rob me, planning to leave me with nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I sat on the bed, thinking, planning. I needed to protect myself. I needed to do something, but I didn't know what yet. But something inside me had changed. I was no longer afraid. I was furious. 2 weeks passed after I heard that conversation, 2 weeks in which I acted as if nothing had happened, as if I didn't know their plans, as if I were still the foolish, submissive mother they thought I was. But inside, something had shifted. I was no longer the same. I started keeping my important documents somewhere else. I put them in a plastic bag and hid them in the bathroom water tank. No one would look there. I made copies of the house deed when Denise was out shopping. I went to a copy center downtown. I made 3 copies. I left one with Brenda. I told her to keep it, not to tell anyone. She looked at me worriedly, but didn't ask questions. She just nodded. Jerry came home one night with papers in his hand. He was in a good mood. He was smiling. It had been weeks since he had smiled at me like that. "Mom, come sit down. I need you to look at something." I sat down at the kitchen table. My heart was racing. I knew what was coming. He put the papers in front of me. "Look, I talked to a lawyer. He says it would be good if you put the house in my name. Well, in our names, yours and mine, as co-owners. That way, if something happens to you, God forbid, the house won't get tied up in long probate. I can take care of everything. It's safer for you, for everyone." I read the papers. They were documents for the transfer of rights. If I signed that, the house would no longer be just mine. It would be Jerry's too. And as soon as I died, or as soon as he decided, he could do whatever he wanted with it. He could sell it, rent it, or kick me out. I looked up. Jerry was watching me anxiously. Denise was standing in the kitchen doorway, observing, waiting. "I'm not signing this." Jerry's smile vanished. "Why not? It's for your own good, Mom." "No, Jerry. It's for your good, for your benefit. I am not signing anything." Jerry slammed his hand down on the table. The noise made me jump. "You're always the same. Always distrusting. Always thinking we're out to get you. I'm your son, your only son. I'm looking out for you. I'm protecting you. And this is how you repay me? I don't need you to protect me from anything. This house is mine. I built it. I paid for it. And it's going to stay mine until I decide what to do with it." Denise entered the kitchen. Her face showed pure fury. "You know what, Ellie? I'm tired of you. Your attitude, your selfishness. We live here. We take care of this house. We pay for things, and you don't even have the decency to secure what will be your son's. You two don't pay anything. I pay for everything. The bills, the food, everything. You just spend, you just take, you just destroy." Denise laughed, a cruel laugh. "Oh, please, you pay? With what? With your little sewing money? With your miserable Social Security check? We maintain this house. We've improved it. If it were up to you, this place would still be a dump." Jerry stood up. He stepped toward me. "That's enough, Mom. Are you going to sign these papers today now?" "I am not signing anything. Get out of my house if you don't like how things are here." Jerry stopped. He looked at me as if he didn't recognize me. Then his face changed. It turned red. His eyes darkened. "Your house? This isn't your house anymore. It's our house. And if anyone is going to leave here, it's you." I got up from the chair. I wanted to move away, go to my room, lock myself in, but Jerry blocked my path. "Move, Jerry!" "I'm not moving. Are you going to sign those papers, or I swear you're going to regret it?" "I'm not signing anything. Get out of my way." Jerry pushed me. It was a hard, violent shove. I lost my balance. My back hit the wall. My head struck the tile. I felt a sharp, blinding pain. I heard a scream. It was Chloe. She was standing in the hallway. She had seen everything. "Grandma!" Her voice sounded scared, terrified. Denise ran toward her. "Go to your room, Chloe, now!" "But, Mom, I said go!" The child ran off crying. I heard her bedroom door slam shut. I touched my head. I felt something damp. Blood. I was bleeding. Jerry stood in front of me, breathing heavily. He didn't look sorry. He didn't look worried. He just looked furious. Denise spoke. Her voice was cold, calm. "See what you caused, Ellie? See what you do? You get Jerry worked up like this. You drive him crazy. This is your fault." "I didn't do anything. You are robbing me. You are assaulting me in my own house." Denise shrugged. "No one is assaulting you. You fell, that's all. You lost your balance. You're an old woman. Those things happen." "Jerry pushed me. You saw it. Chloe saw it." Denise shook her head. "Chloe didn't see anything. She's a child. She gets confused, and we didn't see anything either. We just saw you fall. You should be more careful." I understood at that moment. They were never going to admit anything. They were never going to accept what they had done. They could hurt me, they could steal from me, they could do whatever they wanted, and they would always blame me. They would always twist the truth. I went to my room. I locked the door. I sat on the bed. My whole body was shaking. I wiped the blood from my head with a towel. It wasn't a large wound, but it hurt. It hurt badly. I heard Jerry and Denise talking in low voices. Then I heard them laughing. They were laughing. After what had just happened. They were laughing. I heard music. They had turned on the stereo. They were celebrating. I sat there in silence thinking. I couldn't go on like this. I couldn't stay in this house one more day. If I stayed, I would end up dead. Or worse, they would get me to sign the papers. They would take everything from me, and I would be left with nothing. No house, no dignity, nothing. I waited for them to fall asleep. It was almost 2 o'clock in the morning when I stopped hearing noises. I got up. I pulled out my bag, the same one I had prepared in my mind for days. I packed clothes, medication, the documents I had hidden in the bathroom, and money. I had about $1,200 in cash saved up without them knowing. I slowly opened my bedroom door. The house was dark, silent. I walked down the hall. I passed Chloe's room. I wanted to go in. I wanted to say goodbye, but I couldn't. If I woke her up, Denise would notice, and they wouldn't let me leave. I reached the living room. I saw my furniture, my table, my things. Everything that had been mine was no longer. It no longer belonged to me. This house was no longer my home. It was my prison. I opened the front door. The cold night air hit my face. I walked out. Closing the door behind me was the saddest sound of my life, the sound of leaving behind everything I had built, everything I had loved. I walked down the empty street. I didn't know where I was going. I only knew I had to get away. I had to get out of there before it was too late. My legs ached. My head was pounding, but I kept walking. I reached Brenda's house. I knocked on the door. I waited. I heard footsteps inside. The porch light turned on. Brenda opened the door. She wore an old robe, her hair disheveled. She looked at me. She saw my bag. She saw my face. She saw the wound on my head. "Oh my God, Ellie, what did they do to you?" She didn't say anything else. She pulled me inside, closed the door, and hugged me. And there, in the arms of my neighbor, in the arms of the only person who had shown me compassion, I broke down. I cried out everything I hadn't cried in months, all the pain, all the humiliation, all the betrayal. Brenda led me to her guest room. She gave me clean clothes. She cleaned and bandaged my wound. She made me tea. She sat with me until I stopped shaking. She didn't ask questions. She just cared for me like a sister, like a true friend. I lay down on that strange bed. I closed my eyes, but I couldn't sleep. In my head, I could only hear Jerry's and Denise's laughter. I heard them celebrating that I was gone, celebrating that they were finally rid of me. But there was something else, something burning inside me. It wasn't just sadness. It wasn't just pain. It was rage, pure rage. They thought they had won. They thought they had defeated me, that I was a weak old woman who would give up. But they were wrong. I wasn't going to surrender. I wasn't going to let them keep my house, my life, everything I had built. I was going to fight. I was going to take back what was mine. I was going to show them they had made a mistake they would regret. I woke up with my body aching. Every muscle hurt. My head was throbbing where I had been hit. I got up slowly. I looked around. Brenda's room was small but clean, welcoming, so different from the dark room where I had slept the last few years in my own house. Brenda knocked softly. "Ellie, are you awake?" "Come in." She came in with a tray, hot tea, toast, scrambled eggs. "Eat something, please. You'll get sick if you don't eat." I sat on the bed and took the cup of tea. My hands were still shaking a little. "Thank you, Brenda. You don't know how much this means." She sat beside me. "We're friends, Ellie. That's what we're here for. What did that boy do to you? What did your son do?" I told her everything from the beginning, from the moment they came to live in my house. The slow invasion, the abuses, the fraudulent loan, the papers they wanted me to sign, the shove, the blood. Brenda listened in silence. Her face hardened with every word. "That is abuse, Ellie. That is abuse. You have to report it." "I can't report my own son." "Yes, you can, and you must. He assaulted you. He stole from you. He is taking your home. That is a crime. But he's my son, Brenda. He's the only family I have. He is no longer your family. Family doesn't do that. Family doesn't hit you. They don't steal from you. They don't make you feel like you're in the way in your own house." Her words struck me. She was right. I kept clinging to the idea that Jerry was my son, that blood was thicker than water, but blood meant nothing if it came with violence, betrayal, and contempt. I stayed at Brenda's house that day and the next. I felt paralyzed. I didn't know what to do, where to go, or how to start over at 64. Brenda gave me space. She let me think. She brought me food. She cared for me without suffocating me. On the third day, I was sitting in her living room, looking out the window, thinking of nothing and everything at the same time. Brenda came in from outside, cell phone in hand. Her face was tense, serious. "Ellie, you have to see this." She handed me the phone. On the screen was a photo of my house, my patio, but it wasn't my quiet patio. It was full of people. Long tables with colored tablecloths, beer bottles everywhere, a smoking grill, balloons hanging from the trees. Music. I could almost hear the music from the photo. "What is this?" Brenda sat beside me. "My niece lives on your street, 2 houses down. She sent me this an hour ago. She says your son and daughter-in-law have been throwing a party since this morning. Lots of people, loud music, lots of noise. I felt something break inside me. 3 days. Just 3 days since I left. 3 days since they assaulted me. 3 days since I left my house bleeding, and they were already celebrating. She showed me more photos. One of Jerry next to the grill, a beer in his hand, smiling, laughing. Another of Denise with a group of friends, all holding wine glasses. Another of the patio full of people, strangers in my garden, stepping on the plants I planted, using my tables, my chairs, everything. Brenda showed me a video. The sound was loud. Loud music, laughter, shouts. And then I heard Denise's voice, clear and loud. Finally! We're finally rid of her! Now this house is ours! Now we can live the way we want, without anyone watching us, without anyone messing with us. A toast to freedom! I heard the sound of glasses clinking. I heard more laughter, more shouts of celebration. The video ended. I kept staring at the black screen. My heart was pounding so hard I felt it would burst out of my chest. They're celebrating that I'm gone. My voice sounded strange, distant. They're celebrating. Brenda nodded. It looks like it. I'm sorry, Ellie. I know it hurts, but you needed to see this. You needed to know what kind of people they are. I got up. I walked through the living room. My hands clenched into fists. My jaw was tense. Something inside me was transforming. The pain was turning into something else, something stronger, darker, more powerful. How long has the party been going on? Since 10 o'clock this morning, according to my niece. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. 5 hours. 5 hours. 5 hours of celebration. 5 hours of laughing at me. 5 hours of enjoying my house as if it were theirs, as if I had never existed, as if I were dead. Ellie, what are you thinking? Brenda's voice sounded worried. I turned to look at her. I'm thinking I made a mistake. What mistake? The mistake of leaving in silence. The mistake of running away like a thief, as if I were the one who was wrong. As if I were the guilty one. Brenda stood up. She came closer to me. What are you going to do? I'm going to take back my house. I'm going to get them out of there. I'm going to show them they were wrong about me. But how? You don't have money. You don't have a lawyer. They have everything. They have your house, your things, everything. I have something better. I have the truth. I have the documents that prove that house is mine. I have this wound on my head. I have the bank statements that show I pay for everything. I have witnesses. I have proof. Brenda looked at me with something in her eyes. Respect, perhaps. Admiration. You need help. I know a lawyer, a good one. She specializes in family abuse cases, in fraud. I can call her. Call her. Brenda took out her phone. She dialed a number. She spoke in a low voice. She explained the situation. She listened. She nodded. She hung up. She can see us today, now. She has a free spot. She says it sounds urgent, that the faster we act, the better. Let's go. I put on a sweater. I took my bag. I put in all the documents I had saved, the copies of the deed, the bank statements, the photos of my house from before, everything that could be useful. We went in Brenda's car. The lawyer's office was downtown, in an old but well-maintained building. We went up to the 3rd floor. The office was small, full of books and files. A woman about 50 years old greeted us, short hair, glasses, a serious but kind face. You are Eleanor Vance. I am. Please, sit down. Tell me everything. I told her my story again, with more detail. I showed her the documents, the photos, the video Brenda had on her phone. The lawyer, attorney Lena Powell, took notes and asked questions. Her face showed no emotion, only professional concentration. When I finished, she was silent for a moment. Then she spoke. You have a strong case, Mrs. Vance. Very strong. Fraud, forgery of signature, physical abuse, property invasion, unlawful eviction. I can help you, but I need you to understand something. This is going to be difficult. It's going to be painful. You're going to have to face your son, take him to court, maybe to jail. Are you willing to do that? I was silent, thinking, imagining Jerry behind bars, Chloe without a father, Denise alone. Part of me felt guilt, pain, but then I remembered the shove, the blood, the laughter, the party, the video of Denise toasting my absence. Yes, I am willing. The lawyer nodded. Good. Then let's start. First, I need you to sign these papers. You are hiring me as your legal representative. Then we are going to prepare a lawsuit, and we are going to request a temporary restraining order. With the evidence you have, we can get a judge to remove them from your house while the case is resolved. How long does that take? Normally weeks, but with the party they are having right now and with your recent injury, we can request an emergency order. We could have it today, in a few hours. Today? My voice trembled. Today? The lawyer looked me straight in the eyes. Mrs. Vance, they are on your property without your permission. They assaulted you. They forced you to flee. They are having a party celebrating your departure while you are here, homeless, without your belongings. That is illegal. That is cruel. And a judge will see it that way. Trust me. I signed the papers. The lawyer made calls. She spoke to a judge, to the police, to social services. She worked quickly, efficiently, like a well-oiled machine. I sat there watching, feeling power shift. I was no longer the victim running away. I was the owner taking back what was hers. 3 hours later, the lawyer hung up the phone. She smiled a small professional smile. We have it. The judge approved the emergency eviction order. We have permission to enter your property accompanied by the police. We can do it right now, this afternoon, during the party. During the party, I repeated the words. Yes, while everyone is there. All the witnesses, all the proof that they are illegally occupying your property. It's the best time. They will be unprepared. They won't be able to hide anything. They won't be able to deny anything. Brenda squeezed my hand. Are you sure, Ellie? Are you ready for this? I looked out the window. The sun was starting to set. The moment would soon arrive. The moment to return, to confront, to take back. Yes, I'm ready. The lawyer, Lena Powell, had 20 years of experience in family and estate law cases. She told me this as she prepared the final documents. I've seen cases like yours dozens of times, Mrs. Vance. Children who abuse their parents, who dispossess them, who mistreat them, and it's always the same. The parents are afraid to act, afraid of being alone, afraid of what people will say. But you are doing the right thing, the brave thing. I don't feel brave. I feel scared. That's normal. But fear doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means it's important. You are taking back something that is worth fighting for. Lena made more calls. She coordinated with the police. We need 2 patrol cars, an eviction order, and the presence of a social worker in case there are minors on the property. Yes, there is a child, my client's granddaughter, 9 years old. Good. Then Child Protective Services as well, just as observers, to make sure everything is done correctly. Every word she said made everything more real, more concrete. It was no longer just an idea. It was a plan that would be executed in a matter of hours. Brenda squeezed my hand. You'll be okay. I'll be with you. I won't leave you alone. Thank you. I don't know what I would do without you. She smiled. That's what friends are for. Lena put the papers in a briefcase. All set. I'll see you at your address at 6 o'clock this evening. The police have been notified. The social worker too. Everything is coordinated. You just need to be there, sign whatever is necessary, and let the law do its job. We left the office. It was 4:30. We had an hour and a half. Brenda suggested we eat something. You haven't eaten properly in days, Ellie. You need strength. We went to a local diner nearby. I ordered chicken soup. I could barely eat. My stomach was tied up in knots. The nerves were eating away at me. Are you thinking about Chloe? Brenda's voice was gentle. She knew exactly what was going through my head. Yes, all the time. She'll be there. She'll see everything. She'll see her father being taken out of the house. She'll see me arrive with the police. How do I explain that to her? How do I make her understand it's not her fault? Lena told you the social worker will look after her. She'll make sure she's okay, that they don't traumatize her more than necessary. But she's already traumatized Brenda. She already saw her father hit me. She's already living in a violent environment. She already knows something is wrong. That's why it's important that you do this, to get her out of there, to show her that abuse is not tolerated, that there are consequences, that women don't have to put up with it, and neither do grandmothers. She was right. This wasn't just for me. It was for Chloe, too, to teach her that she deserved to grow up in a home without violence, without shouting, without fear, even if that home no longer included her father. We finished eating. Brenda paid the bill. I wasn't hungry, but I had eaten enough not to pass out. I needed to be strong. I needed to be alert. This was the most important thing I had done in years, maybe in my entire life. We got in the car. Brenda drove slowly. We arrived at my street at 5:40. We parked 3 houses before mine. From there, we could see. The party was still going. There were still people. There was still music. There was still laughter. My heart was racing. I took a deep breath. Once, twice, 3 times. Brenda looked at me out of the corner of her eye. "Do you want to wait in the car? When the police arrive, you can step out." "No, I want to see everything. I want to be present from the start." At exactly 6 o'clock, the first patrol car arrived. It parked in front of my house. 2 officers got out, an older man and a young woman. Behind them, another car arrived. It was Lena. She carried more papers, a briefcase. Her face was serious and professional. A third vehicle arrived, a white SUV. A woman with a folder got out, the social worker, Ms. Sanchez. She approached Lena. They spoke briefly, reviewing papers. Lena saw me in Brenda's car. She signaled to me. It was time. I got out of the car. My legs were shaking. Brenda got out with me. We walked toward the group. Neighbors started coming out of their houses, watching, whispering. They knew something was happening. Lena introduced me to everyone. "Mrs. Vance, this is Officer Ramirez and Officer Torres, and this is Ms. Sanchez from Social Services. They are all here to support you and ensure that everything is done according to the law." Officer Ramirez spoke. Her voice was firm, but not cruel. "Ma'am, I need you to confirm that this is your property, that the documents are in order, and that the people inside do not have your authorization to be there." "Yes, this is my house. It's in my name. I have the deed here. And they entered with my permission years ago, but now they have assaulted me. They have stolen from me. They have forced me to leave. I no longer want them here." "Understood. We will proceed. You stay back with your attorney. We will take care of it. If there is resistance, we will withdraw and call for backup. But usually, when they see the patrol cars, they cooperate." I nodded. I couldn't speak. My throat had closed up. The 4 of them walked toward my house, toward the front door. I stayed behind with Brenda. My heart was pounding 1,000 miles an hour. I could hear the music from outside. Voices, laughter, unaware of what was about to happen. Officer Torres knocked loudly on the door, 3 sharp knocks. The music continued. No one answered. He knocked again, harder. "Police! Open the door!" The music stopped. I heard footsteps. The door opened. It was Jerry. He had a beer in his hand, his face red from alcohol, a smile on his lips. The smile vanished when he saw the uniforms. "Good evening. I'm Officer Torres. We have a court order. I need you to step outside and allow me to enter." Jerry froze. "What? An order for what? From whom?" Lena stepped forward. She showed the papers. "A temporary restraining order issued by Judge Morales. This property belongs to Mrs. Eleanor Vance. You and your family must vacate immediately." Jerry saw me. I was standing on the street behind everyone. His face changed, surprise, then anger. "Mom, what did you do? What the hell did you do?" Denise appeared behind him. "What's wrong, Jerry? Who is it?" She saw the patrol cars. She saw the officers. She saw me. Her face went pale. "This is a mistake. This is our house. We live here. You can't kick us out like this." Lena spoke calmly but firmly. "Ma'am, this property is registered in Eleanor Vance's name. She has the legal right to request your eviction, especially after having been a victim of physical assault and fraud. We have documentation of everything, including the loan you requested in her name without her consent." "That's a lie!" Denise almost screamed. "She authorized that loan. She lives here. We take care of her. You can't do this." Officer Torres intervened. "Ma'am, I need you to cooperate. This is a court order. If you do not comply voluntarily, we will have to use other means. You have 30 minutes to collect your essential belongings. The rest can be collected later by appointment and in the presence of an officer." The party guests started to leave, confused, frightened, some still with cups in their hands. "What happened? What's going on?" Denise yelled at them. "Stay! Nothing is wrong. You'll see this is a mistake." But people left quickly. No one wanted to be there. No one wanted trouble with the police. In 10 minutes, the patio was empty. Only Jerry, Denise, Chloe, and us remained. Chloe came out of her room. Her eyes were red. She had been crying. She saw me. "Grandma!" She ran toward me. The social worker tried to stop her, but I shook my head. I let her come. She hugged my waist. "Please, Grandma, don't let them take us out, please!" My heart broke into a million pieces. I knelt in front of her. "My love, this is not your fault. None of this is your fault. But I can't live here with your parents anymore. They hurt me. They injured me. And I have to take care of myself. I have to be safe." "But I'll take care of you, Grandma. I'll protect you." "I know, baby, I know. And I love you. I will always love you. But this is something adults have to resolve. You just have to be a child. You don't have to protect anyone." The social worker approached, speaking softly. "Hello, Chloe. I'm Ms. Sanchez. I'm going to make sure you're okay, that your parents and your grandmother resolve this without affecting you. It's going to be fine. You're going to be okay." Denise called her. "Chloe, come here. Not now. Don't stay with her. This is all her fault." Chloe looked at me, confused, scared. "Go to your mom, my love. It's okay. Go." The child walked slowly toward Denise. She turned to look at me twice, as if saying goodbye, as if asking me if I would be okay. I smiled at her, even though it hurt, even though I was dying inside. Jerry started gathering things. He threw clothes into bags. Denise was crying. "This isn't fair. You don't have the right. We're going to fight this. We'll get the house back. You'll see, Ellie. You will regret this." Lena replied for me. "Ma'am, any threat will be documented and used against you. I suggest you cooperate and leave peacefully." The 30 minutes passed like a dream, like a movie. Jerry and Denise carried out clothes, Chloe's toys, and some personal items. Not much. They couldn't take much. Officer Torres supervised everything, making sure they didn't take anything that wasn't theirs. When they finished, they walked out. Jerry walked past me without looking. Denise looked at me with pure hatred. "This isn't over. I swear it." Chloe was crying. "Grandma, Grandma, please!" They got into their car, the one they had bought with borrowed money, the one they parked in my driveway. They started the engine. They drove away. Their taillights disappeared at the end of the street. I stood there, in the middle of the street, in front of my house, which was finally mine again. Officer Ramirez handed me the keys. "They're yours, Mrs. Vance. The house is secured. I recommend you change the locks first thing tomorrow morning, just in case they made copies." I nodded. I took the keys. They weighed more than I remembered. Or maybe I was the one who felt lighter. Lena reviewed the final papers. I signed where she indicated. "This is temporary, Mrs. Vance. There will be a hearing in 2 weeks. But with the evidence we have, the eviction is very likely to become permanent. They can try to fight it, but I doubt it. Cases like this rarely favor the abuser." "Thank you, attorney, for everything." She smiled. "It's my job, and it's the right thing to do. Take care of yourself. Call me with any threats, any attempt at unauthorized contact." The officers left, Lena left. The social worker left. Only Brenda and I remained, standing in front of my house. The patio was still littered with the remains of the party. Plastic cups, empty bottles, plates with half-eaten food, napkins on the ground. The smell of barbecue still hung in the air. "Do you want me to stay with you tonight?" Brenda looked at me worriedly. "No, I need to be alone. I need to take back my space. But thank you for everything. I couldn't have done this without you." She hugged me. "You are stronger than you think, Ellie. You always have been. You just needed to remember it." Brenda left. I stood in front of the door. My door. I put the key in the lock. I turned it. The sound of the deadbolt opening was the sweetest sound I had heard in years. I pushed the door open. I walked in. The house was silent. A deep, heavy silence, but it wasn't the oppressive silence from before. It was a silence of peace, of freedom. I walked through the living room. I ran my hand over the table, over the armchair that had been mine and that Denise had moved. I put it back by the window, where it had always been, where it belonged. I went to the kitchen. There were dirty dishes everywhere, leftovers from the party, bottles on the counter, spilled food, a disaster. But it was my disaster. My kitchen, my house. I started cleaning. I washed the dishes one by one. I wiped the counter. I swept the floor. I felt every movement, every gesture. I was reclaiming my space. I was erasing their footprints. I went to the master bedroom, the one that had been mine, the one they took from me. Denise's sheets were still on the bed, her things on the dresser, makeup, perfumes, clothes. I took everything off. I put it in bags. I left them in the hallway. They would come to collect them later. Or not. I didn't care. I put on my own sheets, the ones I had stored away, white, clean, smelling of lavender. I sat on the bed, my bed, in my room. I looked out the window, the garden, the plants, the darkening sky. Everything was there. Everything was still there, and now it was mine again. I went to the small back room, the one that had been my prison. I took my few things, my clothes, my medication, Arthur's photo. I put it on the nightstand in the master bedroom, next to the bed, where it had always been. "Hello, my love. I'm back. I'm home." I spent the next few hours cleaning, tidying, reclaiming every corner, every space. I threw away the things Denise had put up, the horrible decorations, the shiny cushions, the cheap pictures. I took my things out of the boxes and put them back in their place, their rightful place. I cleaned the patio. I picked up all the cups, all the bottles, all the trash from the party that celebrated my absence, the party that ended in the worst possible way for them. I smiled, a bitter smile, but real, deserved. It was 2 o'clock in the morning when I finished. I was exhausted. My whole body ached, but it was a good ache, the ache of work, of recovery. I took a long bath in my bathroom with my hot water, without anyone rushing me, without anyone knocking on the door demanding to enter. I put on my favorite pajamas, the ones I hadn't worn in years because Denise said they looked old. I lay down in my bed, in my room. I closed my eyes, and for the first time in years, I slept in peace. I slept soundly. I slept without fear, without anxiety, without worry that someone would come in, that someone would yell at me, that someone would hurt me. I woke up with the sun. It was streaming through the window, my window. I stretched. I smiled. Today was a new day, the first day of the rest of my life. The first day being the owner of my own house again, of my own life. I made coffee. I ate breakfast peacefully. I called a locksmith. He came mid-morning. He changed all the locks, the front door, the back door, the windows, everything. He handed me the new keys. No one else had copies. No one else could enter without my permission. I paid $150. It was the best money I had ever spent. Brenda came to visit. She brought pastries and coffee. We sat on the patio. "How did you sleep?" "Like a baby." She smiled. "You look different, Ellie. You look alive." I feel alive. For the first time in years, I feel alive. The following days were quiet, beautiful. I got back into my routine, my sewing, my clients, my plants. I watered the garden, pruned the trees, fixed what was broken, and painted the walls that Denise had stained. Little by little, the house was becoming my house again. It was regaining my essence, my spirit. Jerry tried to call me several times. I didn't answer. He sent me messages. I didn't read them. Denise also tried to contact me. I blocked her. Lena had told me that any unauthorized contact should be reported, and that's what I would do if they kept trying. The hearing was 2 weeks later. Jerry and Denise showed up with a cheap lawyer. They tried to argue that they had improved the property, that they had invested money, that I had invited them to stay. Lena presented all the evidence: the fraudulent loan, the photos of my injury, the testimonies, the videos of the party. The judge took less than 30 minutes to decide. The eviction was permanent. The house was mine. The loan was to be investigated for fraud. Jerry could face criminal charges. I walked out of the courthouse with my head held high. Jerry looked at me from afar. There was no longer fury in his eyes, only defeat, only shame. Denise was crying. Chloe was not there. Thank God she didn't have to see this. I returned to my house, legal, official, permanently mine. I sat in my armchair by the window. I looked at the garden. I took a deep breath. I had done it. I had recovered my life. I had recovered my dignity. I had recovered my home. 3 months passed since the hearing. 3 months since I permanently recovered my house. 3 months of peace, of chosen silence, of real freedom. The first few days were an adjustment, getting used to being alone again, but this time it was different. Before, I was alone and felt empty. Now, I was alone and felt complete. I didn't need anyone else to feel that my life had meaning. I was enough. I resumed my sewing work with renewed energy. My clients came back. Some had heard what happened. Gossip travels fast in the neighborhood. But they didn't look at me with pity. They looked at me with respect, with admiration even. Mrs. Ellie, who beat her own son. Mrs. Ellie, who didn't let herself be taken advantage of. Mrs. Ellie, who got back what was hers. I earned more money in those 3 months than in the previous 2 years. I no longer had to pay the inflated bills run up by Denise. I no longer had to give money to Jerry. I no longer had to fund other people's parties or whims. My money was mine. I spent it on what I wanted, what I needed. I bought new clothes, not many, but good ones. I got my hair done at a salon. I bought new glasses. I invested in my sewing machine, gave it maintenance, bought quality fabrics, and imported threads. I indulged in small luxuries that before seemed impossible, unnecessary, or selfish. I painted the whole house light, fresh, cheerful colors. I hired someone to fix the roof, repair the leaks, and change the broken tiles in the bathroom. The house was beautiful, like new, like when Arthur and I built it. Brenda continued to visit me. We drank coffee every afternoon. We laughed, we told stories, we made plans. I wanted to travel, to see the ocean. I hadn't left the city in years. Brenda said we could go together, that it would be fun. 2 old ladies loose on the beach. I laughed. I liked the idea. I heard nothing from Chloe for 2 months. It hurt. I thought about her every day. I wondered if she was okay, if she missed me, if she hated me for what had happened. But I couldn't contact her. Legally, I couldn't go near her while she was with Jerry and Denise. The judge had ordered it that way. It was in the 3rd month that I received a call. It was the social worker, Ms. Sanchez. "Mrs. Vance, I need to speak with you." My heart raced. "Is it Chloe? Is she okay?" "She's fine physically, but emotionally she is going through a difficult time. Her father is being investigated for fraud. Her mother is working double shifts. The child spends a lot of time alone or with neighbors. She is asking for you constantly." "Can I see her?" "There is a process, but yes, I can arrange it." If you are willing to be evaluated as a temporary care option, I would do anything, whatever is necessary. I went through evaluations, interviews, and home visits. They checked my house, my financial stability, my mental health, my history. Everything was invasive, uncomfortable, but necessary. And I did it for Chloe. To give her a safe home, a place where she could be a child without carrying the weight of adult problems. 2 weeks later, Ms. Sanchez called me. "You've been approved, Mrs. Vance. Chloe can stay with you temporarily while her parents' situation is resolved." I cried. I cried with happiness, with relief. Yes, I agree. Chloe arrived one Saturday morning. The social worker brought her. She carried a small backpack, a few things. She got out of the car slowly. She saw me standing at the door. She ran. "Grandma!" She hugged me. I hugged her tight, so tight I thought I would break her. "I'm sorry, my love. I'm sorry for everything." She shook her head. "No, Grandma. You didn't do anything wrong. Daddy did bad things. Mommy, too. But you didn't." I showed her her room. I had prepared it especially. I painted the walls yellow, her favorite color. I bought a new bed, sheets with butterflies, a desk for her to do homework, books, toys, everything for her. Her eyes lit up. "Is all this for me?" "All of it, my love. All for you." The days with Chloe were different. I had to wake up earlier, make her breakfast, take her to school, pick her up, help her with homework. But it was a beautiful exhaustion, an exhaustion with purpose, with love, with meaning. She told me about her day, her friends, what she learned. I told her stories about when her father was a child, the good parts, before everything went wrong. She listened attentively. Sometimes she asked about him, about her mother. "I miss them, Grandma." "I know, my love, and it's okay to miss them. You can love them and at the same time know that what they did was wrong. Both things can be true." One afternoon, we were at the market buying vegetables. I saw Jerry. He was in line for the deli counter. He looked different. Thinner, older, tired. He wore wrinkled clothes, worn-out shoes. He saw me. He froze. I did too. We looked at each other for seconds that felt like hours. He looked away first. He paid for his items. He left without saying anything, without coming closer, without trying to speak. I felt something in my chest. It wasn't satisfaction. It wasn't victory. It was sadness. Sadness for what could have been and never was. For the son I could have had and who I lost somewhere along the way. Chloe didn't see him. She was distracted choosing apples. Better that way. She didn't need that confusion, that pain. She had suffered enough. We got home. We cooked together. She helped me peel potatoes, stir the pot. She laughed when she dropped something. I laughed too. I was happy, genuinely happy. After so many years of pain, fear, and humiliation, I was finally happy. At night, Chloe would lie down in my bed. I would read her stories and sing her songs, the same ones I sang to Jerry when he was little. She would fall asleep with her head on my shoulder. I would stay awake a little longer, watching her, being thankful. Thankful for life giving me another chance, for allowing me to care, for allowing me to love without fear. Months passed. Chloe grew. She adapted. She was a different child, happier, more confident. She got good grades. She had friends. She played. She laughed. She was what she always should have been, a child without adult worries. Jerry never tried to contact me. Denise didn't either. The fraud case continued its course. I don't know what happened to them. I didn't ask. I didn't want to know. I had closed that door. I had moved on, and I wasn't planning on looking back. One Sunday afternoon, I was in the garden. Chloe was playing with a ball. Brenda had come to visit us. We were drinking lemonade, talking about everything and nothing. The sun was warm. The air smelled of jasmine. The flowers I planted were blooming. "Are you happy, Ellie?" Brenda's question took me by surprise. I thought for a moment. I looked at Chloe laughing. I looked at my house, my garden, my life. Yes, I am happy. After everything, despite everything, I am happy. And it was true. I had lost my son. I had lost years of my life. I had suffered. I had cried. I had bled. But I had gained something more important. I had gained my freedom, my dignity, my voice. I had gained the ability to say no, to set boundaries, to defend myself, to not allow anyone to treat me as if I were worthless. I was 64 years old when this story began. Now I was 65, 1 year older, but infinitely stronger, wiser, more alive. This house was mine, this life was mine, and no one ever again would take it away from me. Chloe ran toward me. "Grandma, look!" She had found a beautiful yellow butterfly perched on her hand. We looked at it together. The butterfly opened its wings. It flew up into the sky, free, like me, like us, finally free. Did you like my story? If you listened till the end, drop a 1 in the comments. If you enjoyed it, you can support me by liking the video and sending a small tip. I've got lots of other life stories like this on my channel, so make sure to subscribe and check them out. I've added 2 new stories on screen that everyone loves. Thanks for being here. See you in the next one, with love.